Hey, once again, I'm Cassie. I'm a songwriter and music artist. Delivering rhythm, energy, and pure vibes is my specialty. Welcome back to the Cassie Inquiry. If you have followed this series, you would have become familiar with the wicked scheme to milk billions of naira from Nigerian innocent musicians by a syndicate operating from the Federal Ministry of Justice, working with some scammers in the Nigerian music industry. In part 5 of this historic expose, Chief Tony Okoroji reveals how the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, demolished due process, abandoned the federal rules and regulations, and ordered the Nigerian Copyright Commission, which is also known as NCC, to overnight approve the syndicate Musical Copyright Society of Nigeria, which is also known as the MCSN, as a collecting society against the will of the commission and the music industry, so as to siphon billions of naira in the name of Nigerian musicians. Chief Tony Okoroji also tells the chilling story on how a federal high court judge, Justice Ibrahim Buba, was harassed and intimidated not to address the wicked backroom purported approval MCSN, which had been serially rejected by the federal government. What did you do when you learned about this whole scheming going on? Like, what did you do?
On learning about this strange development, I sought to see the AGF because I was sure that his directives would set the music industry on fire. I'm very familiar with the Copyright Act. I served on the committee that drafted the act as it was. I'm familiar with the NCC. I was twice on the board of the NCC. I know the Nigerian music industry from several directions as an artist, a producer, a label owner,
Okay.
former president of PNAN, chairman of the defunct PMRS, and of course, chairman of Copyright Society of Nigeria, COSON.
Okay.
So, I met with the AGF in his office in Abuja on April 5 and 6, 2017. After our discussions, during which I gave to him a copy of the law and several related documents, Mr. Malami said to me that COSOM was a monopoly and that the Buhari government was against monopolies. I explained to the AGF that across the world, because of the unique nature of CMOs, they are not profit-making organizations, but companies limited by guarantee and are mostly monopolies. I referred him to the two other approved CMOs in Nigeria, Audiovisual Rights Society of Nigeria, AVRS for the movie industry, and the Reproduction Rights Organization of Nigeria, REPRONIG, for the literary and publishing industry, both of which are companies limited by guarantee and the monopolies. Monopolies till today, they remain monopolies.
Monopolies.
Mr. Malami then said to me that he did not quite understand the issues,
Okay.
but had acted out of persistent pressure from his SA media, one Saliu Othman Issa.
Okay.
He also told me that he was alarmed at some point with the unending pressure of Issa and that he had asked Issa what his interest was in the matter. My dear, I believed Mr. Malami. To cut a long story short,
Okay.
I asked the AGF what he was going to do about the matter since he had become better informed. He looked at me, eyeball to eyeball, and said, "Give me 7 days."
Okay.
7 days passed and nothing happened.
Whoa.
Another
Okay.
7 days went by and I called the AGF,
Okay.
who would ordinarily take my call, and there was no answer. I sent him a text and there was no reply.
No, it's kind of more interesting.
I followed up with an email which received no acknowledgement. My dear, it became clear to me that I had been sold a dummy.
Wow.
Mr. Malami all the time
Wow.
knew
This is
what
serious.
he
He was
was
doing
doing.
exactly.
He knew what he was doing. At Koson, we addressed a press conference on the issue. Thereafter, I was repeatedly sent very vile and foul text messages by a very senior aide of Mr. Malami, calling me all kinds of names in gutter language.
He really.
This was followed by mails threatening me with legal action.
So they went that far to.
Yes, yes. They even went beyond that. When it became obvious that despite his promise, the AGF had pecuniary interest in the matter and would never address the problem, we took the issues to the Federal High Court by originating summons for a resolution. Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court was assigned the case, and he was faced with intimidation so that he would not deliver judgment in the matter as he deemed fit. Cassie, on December 6, 2017, Justice Ibrahim Buba stepped into his courtroom in Ikoyi. His courtroom was full to the brim. Justice Buba was scheduled to deliver an important judgment on the key question we had raised by originating summons, which was this. Under Nigerian law, was the syndicate Musical Copyright Society Nigeria CSN properly approved as a collective society and authorized to collect money on behalf of innocent Nigerian musicians? A matter that was important to the Nigerian creative industry. In Malami's rush to declare MCS approved and save Mayowa Ailara and his gang from trial and get them to continue milking the music industry, or modicum attempt to follow due process, were any steps taken to ensure that the mandatory requirements prescribed in the Copyright Collective Management Organizations Regulations 2007 were followed?
Sir, we would like to know what issues were you expecting Justice Buba to rule on?
Thank you. The issues Justice Buba was to rule on included the following. Did MCSN file an application with the NCC in the prescribed form as required under the Copyright Collective Management Organization Regulations 2007? Of course, the answer is a blatant no. Another one, did MCSN pay the prescribed fee to the federal government as required under the Copyright Regulations 2007? Of course, the answer is a blatant no. Now, did MCSN submit the many documents required to be submitted to the NCC under the Copyright Regulations 2007? Which documents are required to be evaluated before the grant of any approval? The answer is another blatant
No.
no.
Okay.
Now, who carried out the evaluation of the MCSN application? Where and when? No one did. My dear, what Abubakar Malami, Nigeria's Attorney General, did was tantamount to announcing that someone who did not register for an exam, never paid the exam fee, and never sat for the exam, had passed the exam in flying
Colors.
colors. Justice Buba did not deliver the judgment. A visibly angry Buba announced that the evening before he had received a petition against him from a party in the case, obviously trying to intimidate him. He announced that, quote, come rain, come sunshine, unquote, he will deliver the judgment on December 14th.
So, did he deliver the judgment?
Lo and behold, on December 14th, Justice Ibrahim Buba still did not deliver the judgment.
Whoa, wow, this is becoming more interesting.
He said that the case file had been taken from him to Abuja,
Okay.
and he had no choice but to adjourn the matter sine die or till further notice. Mr. Abubakar Malami, the very powerful AGF, did not think that anyone would have the audacity to ask the questions we asked. He did not want our questions answered. Hence, the mustling of Justice Ibrahim Buba. You see, I never thought would ever see a day in my fatherland when the rule of law will be so violently and brazenly assaulted. The courts were supposed to be the last refuge of the common man. I was startled by the president being set, a judge being untwisted so that he does not deliver judgment in a case as he deemed fit. For me, it was crazy. I demonstrated for days and carried placards in front of the Federal High Court in Lagos and insisted that the case file be brought back to Justice Buba. The case file in suit number FHC /L /CS /1259 2017 was eventually brought back. But I tell you, by then, so much water had passed under the bridge.